right, now can you hear me? Oh my goodness, can you hear me? The mute button's not on. Then the mute button is not on. So you can hear me now? I want to thank all y'all for joining me on the show tonight. We're done. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. All right. Now we can get the party started. Okay. So, let me just bring you through that stress thing that I had happen on live stream. First off, I accidentally turned off my computer. So all y'all who like hung around after the stream stopped multiple times, I really appreciate it because I did stop the stream on purpose once, but then I like went and turned off my computer, not on purpose. So, you know, the stream stopped a second time. So I don't know what it looked like on your end. I tried to keep the kittens up. I'm so glad I had that kitten video. In fact, I might have to keep that just on file for other times. Hopefully I'll never have to use it again. So, thank you guys so much for hanging out. All right, before I go into what just happened, I want to say, hey, Carl in Arkansas, and good to see you. Love Pat, Darlene, Cindy, so stoked you're here. Kenny from the Cove, super stoked you're here, and I was really happy to hear that the rain started to fall in your neck of the woods, because I know that you've been dying of drought there. Marmac, good to see you. Cindy Krause, think I said hey already to you, but hey. Andre, thank you for the biddies. Thank you for hanging out. And let's see, Rick, yes, we've got sound. And all right, so who else is here that I did not say hello to? Gina, thank you so much for just being like, no, dude, things ain't right. Nope, things still ain't right, because things were not right. So, all right, let's see here. I think I'm scrolling super fast, trying to see if I caught everybody as I was freaking. And I'm not sure if I caught everybody. If I missed you, super sorry, you guys. Yeah, so, Andre, thank you so much for gifting those subs. And Carl in Arkansas, thank you for resubbing your sub. So, all right, so you guys, the, you know, as you know, there was no sound, right? You know, but my computer, my microphone, all the little lights and stuff are on it. See, like, maybe you can see. See, all the little lights were on it. So I was like, well, I thought my microphone worked. And so then I was freaking for a second because I thought, oh no, maybe the cord's broken, and the only other cord I have that fits what needs to be fit is a cord that's like this long. So while the kittens were on, I like had to take my microphone and put it really close to the computer to see if it was the cord that was the problem. The cord was not the problem. And so then I like went to another software and was like, well, maybe the mic is broken. So I went to another piece of software and it was like, no, the mic's working just fine. So yeah, so then I had to think, well, what? As it turns out, some setting had gotten flipped, and so I needed to go into OBS and unflip the flip, and then I'd unflipped other flips, and so, whew. All right, yep. Yeah, and where that'd be funny if I was on the floor with the mic and your feet were up on the desk. Yeah, my feet wouldn't have been up on the desk, but I was almost on the floor with the mic. And in fact, I was, because this mic stand is very adjustable. You better believe if this cord had worked, I would have done whatever I needed to. You probably would have seen me doing this all show if this cord had worked. So blah 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 blah. As I spoke into the mic, right? It would have been an ugly scene. Yeah. So there we go. Alrighty. So it looks like we've got a couple different conversations going on about a couple different folks. And one of the folks would be Miles Wilcox, and according to his latest Facebook feed, he has recently landed on Maui, and so he's going to be on Maui tonight, and then he's going to be flying to Hawaii, the Big Island, to visit Cayman. And so you need to follow Miles on Facebook if you want to keep up with his little big adventures. Because unfortunately, we don't have our daily Boomatai connection with Miles anymore. And so for all of us who like to live vicariously through Miles's August Hawaii adventures, well, Facebook is where you can catch that action. Now, where is Terry in Scotland, other than probably somewhere in Scotland? You guys, that is kind of weird. So yeah, if we need to maybe keep our eye out on the lookout, because Terry is very, I mean, if one thing it is Terry is punctual. I know every single day that I'm on my, that my phone has is with me at like at 3 minutes to 5 my time usually. I get a little notification, and I can tell. I look at the clock, and it's like, oh, this has got to be a Twitch notification about Terry. And I look, and yep, it's a Twitch notification about Terry. So Shock saying that Terry was on Luke's stream earlier today, so he is fine. Fan-flippin-tastic. Awesome. I wonder why he's not doing his little usual, but that's cool. He's got a life, so there we go. And oh my god, you guys. Marmac, thank you so much for the 500 biddies. Kenny, thank you for the 200 biddies. Cindy, woohoo, 100 biddies. Thank you so much. And Andre, once again, thank you for the 200. Alrighty. As you guys noticed, I am wearing the little Moosey Moose shirt today, and there is a reason for that. We're going to get into that later. It does have a little bit to do with Whale Talk Wednesday. What? It does. You'll see. And let's see here. But before we get into that, I do want to talk to you about something that is, well, actually, it kind of does matter. Generally here on Chatter with Statter, we like to keep things a little bit light, although sometimes we do go into some serious topics. And today, actually, for just a minute, I am going to go into a serious topic. So, for those of you who do not know, in the real world, I actually manage a tax and accounting office. I know you might not think of that, but it's true. I'm not lying. Anyway, earlier today, as I was working before the stream, when I should have been checking my gear, I was in contact with a client who had today gotten a phone call from the IRS. And the IRS was telling him that they needed to update his address because he has some refunds that they wanted to send him, blah, 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 blah. I don't exactly know what the story was. But they were pushing him for his address, and they were pushing him for his social security number. He did not give them any of the information, thank goodness. I've had clients that weren't that savvy. And instead, he emailed me directly and said, hey, I got a call from the IRS. They say they don't have my most recent address. This is my most recent address. Could you help me handle this with them? At which point I replied back, the address you've given me is absolutely the address that the IRS has on file for you, which was true. I was like, and not only that, the IRS, and this is the important part, folks, this is where you need to be listening here. And Anne's asking me to turn the music down so she can hear this very important info. And it looks like all you guys already know where I'm going with this, but for those who don't know, the IRS will never call you out of the blue. The IRS will never email you out of the blue. If you have an email or a phone call from someone claiming to be from the IRS, it is not. The only time you will ever get a phone call or an email from an IRS agent is if you already know that agent. For example, you're under an audit. You've been assigned John Smith as your auditor. You and John Smith have been corresponding with each other, and generally, John Smith will have a direct phone number, and he will have a direct email that John Smith will give you so you can contact him via phone or email. And because you have an email and a phone number, you will be giving it to John Smith, and that is how you will correspond via email or phone numbering, calling. Never out of the blue will an IRS agent ever call you or email you. I've seen, I like to think this is common knowledge, but I've seen so many of our clients get scammed because, and it's usually the clients that are behind on their taxes, and they know they're behind on their taxes, and so they start panicking, and then they aren't necessarily thinking straight. And so then they do stupid things like giving out social security numbers, bank account numbers, etc. So, you guys are very smart people. I already know. But I just want to reinforce and remind you what you already know. And in case you didn't know it, now you know. So, Darlene, yes, so true. She says, I know someone who works with the IRS. Precisely, exactly. Andre, thank you so much for all the biddies raining down, for helping spread the gospel of the IRS just will not call you. They just will not. Unless you know they're going to call you. Like, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, you know, I know John's going to call me. We're close. We're tight like this since my audit. You know, if it's something like that, then there you have it. So, and exactly, and they deliberately take advantage of the taxman fears. That is exactly it. And so, and like I said, you know, once you're already, you know, 4 or 5 years delinquent, that already is weighing heavy on you. You know, I mean, they really, it's a numbers game with them. I think the scammers, you know, call anybody and everybody. And the reason why I say I think it's a scam or I think it's a numbers game and they call anyone and everybody is because I actually got a call at my office in regards to a delinquent my delinquent tax account. And it's just like, well, you do realize that the person you're speaking to associated with this phone number actually is a tax office. So, yeah, it's just, you know, they're not, everybody is at risk of this. And so, so always be aware and wary. Carl in Arkansas, you're glad you don't make enough to have to file. True, but the problem is though, but still though, actually with you, Carl, so you don't make enough that you have to file, but if you want some, you know, the tax credit benefits, blah, 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 sometimes even if you don't, I can't remember what some of the, you know, the stimulus payments were back in the day, but in order to get those stimulus payments, you had to be in their system. And so even if you had a zero, you know, not enough to file income situation, you still had to file if you wanted to have access to those stimulant payments. So even people who don't have to file sometimes find themselves in a circumstance where they might want to file. You know, do you want an extra free $800? Yeah, there you go. And so, let's see here. Andre, you bet the IRS even gets I'm sure the IRS gets those calls. I know that I've seen on the YouTubes or the internets, one of those calls got taken to, or was put through to the sheriff's department, and the caller was threatening to send the sheriff's department to the sheriff's department. And the guy on the phone was like, okay, you know, it's like just laughing. So, you know, they literally are just like calling everybody. And Rick, you tell them to talk to your agent if they call you. Yeah, well, that's not what my client did, but luckily my client was like, I'm gonna have my agent, that would be me, take care of this. We're not gonna take care of it over the phone. I have people to handle this. And so he then forwarded it to me to handle, and I was so thankful for him and to him, and I gave him all sorts of, you know, thank you so muches, and you're so smart. Because even though it seems like the obvious thing, I've seen too many people, our clients, get, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to say to some of our clients, why didn't you just call us first? But, you know, instead you say something like that a little less dramatic. So yeah, and Gina, you better believe it, they totally use scare tactics. That's what they were trying to do with the sheriff, which was kind of funny. And Rick, of course you don't have an agent. I knew you didn't. Of course you didn't, exactly. And And then, Anne, you had those jerks on hold while I got my lawyer on the phone. They hung up. Exactly. And, oh, Carl, your income is disability, so you don't qualify for any of that stuff. Yeah, totally. Okay, well, then you are in a circumstance where, yeah, you don't. Well, then you are in a very unique circumstance, because if one of those IRS agents calls and you're like, you're delinquent on taxes and blah, 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 you can totally, if, you know, too bad they don't have these for the phones, but you could totally throw down that ha-ha emote right in their face. Right in their face. Ha-ha, I ain't gotta file no taxes. And, let's see here. Have I already streamed the movie Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell? No, I haven't, but I'm so glad you asked that question. Hold on. Because I did mention the last stream, I think, that we were going to talk about different movies that we might want to see, because now I was going along the lines of just stupid, silly movies that are, for kids and fun, because we had such a good time with the Muppet movie, and I was thinking of taking some other suggestions. Now, I am going to write down Stranger Than Fiction, because I think I've seen part of that movie. Isn't that when, like, he starts narrating his own, or like he starts hearing a narrator for his life? I've seen part of that. If it's the movie I think I'm thinking of, I've seen part of it, and I wanted to see all of it. And okay, Kenny from the Cove, Wall-E. I've never seen that, but I've heard good things about it. Now, I was, let's see here. Oh, hold on one second. Oh. Okay, I was also thinking, I think my local Target has a copy, actually, and I was thinking we might want to check out Popeye from 1980. It's the film with, that guy, Robin Williams. And I'm going to say Shelley Duvall, but I might be lying about that part. And so I was thinking Popeye might be a cute movie, but that was honestly the only movie I could think of. And so Wall-E is definitely a good suggestion there. And Vanilla Coke Pepsi, you hate my shirt. Well, Kenny from the Cove had it custom made for me. I think there's only 2 in existence, so don't worry, you won't have to see it around town. But what am I trying to say? But you're one of the few people on the face of the earth who actually would be able to understand just the joke that this is, this joke, the behind-the-scenes joke that this shirt has going on with it. And Kenny from the Cove, Popeye was a totally bad movie. I don't remember. I do remember seeing it in the theater, but I was like 6, and so I actually don't remember. So yeah, maybe not Popeye then. I'll make note. Maybe not. So so yeah, if you guys have any other movie suggestions for silly kids-like movies, that would be super awesome, because kids. I mean, I know that Stranger Than Fiction isn't exactly a kids movie or whatever. But anyway, fun, lighthearted movies, I think, are what we're gonna be going for. And so if you guys can think of fun, lighthearted movies that are silly and fun, there you go. I want to hear all about them. And let's see here. Popeye was the biggest flop that Robin Williams did. Well, wasn't Popeye one of the first movies that he starred in? My coworker and I were discussing this yesterday, and we didn't, look it up. But isn't it one of the first movies that he was he was main character. He was, wasn't Popeye one of the first movies that he starred in, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And let's see here. Okay, so Anne is coming in with yes. All right. So, I don't really know. I mean, it couldn't have been that much of a flop. I mean, got hired again, right? You know, just because it wasn't as big as his other movies doesn't really mean that it was a huge flop, does it? I don't know the numbers behind it, so I have no idea. But let's see here. Okay. Pample is a distant cousin of Bullwinkle. That was funny. Oh, was it a flop? I was literally, I guess it would have been 6 or 7 when it came out. So, like, you know, I was not paying any attention to those numbers. And, let's see here. Rick, Tunnel Vision was, okay, Marmac, I just lowered the music a little bit. And Popeye was a staple movie of the sleepovers of your childhood. Nice, nice. Darlene, your daughters when young liked the movie Goonies. That is so funny. You should bring that up because Marmac, actually, I believe it was, just sent me a little article about how the house that Goonies was filmed in has just reopened to public viewing, etc. And she suggested that she suggested that we run the movie Goonies to sort of commemorate that. And I know that we tried to run Goonies before, and I know that we failed. And then I remember having to play Bewitched with Will Ferrell. But did we ever watch Goonies? I cannot remember. And so I'm thinking we might need to watch Goonies again, or for the first time. But anyway, I think Goonies might be on the horizon real darn soon, for the reason that, for the reason of the house, basically. And so Rick was saying, though, that Tunnel Vision was the first, so wait a second, Tunnel Vision was the first movie that Robin Williams starred in, or was he just in? Because with a cast like that, Tunnel Vision cast, I don't know who Roger Bowen is, but Chevy Chase, John Candy, Howard Hessman, John Flaherty, Laurie Newman, don't know these people, but for all those people, like, it sounds like it was more of an ensemble than a star. So, like, did he, is it really a movie that he starred in? I'm still not sure. Let's see here. And, yeah, Andre, I know we saw a little bit, but I'm trying to remember if we saw the whole thing. And you're saying no. And Kenny's saying he'd watch it again. So, okay, cool. I'm going to assume that even if we did watch Goonies before, clearly we all forget. So we might as well treat it like we haven't. So cool. I have Goonies. Goonies is on the list, and I have Goonies. And is Sandlot a good movie? It's another kid's movie. I don't know. I feel like I've seen it, but I honestly cannot remember, but I did just write it down. So, so there we have it. Vanilla Pepsi, you never watched Goonies? Well, it's an older movie. It came out in the 80s. So I'm not surprised that you haven't seen it, actually. Whether or not you'll like it, who really knows? Oh, okay, Rick, you don't think Robin Williams was in Tunnel Vision? Oh, okay. And let's see here. Kenny from the Cove, Not Another Teen Movie, is a funny spoof of all the 80s Brat Pack movies. Yeah, those are funny, but I don't know. I can't remember. I feel... I'll write it down. There we go. It's written down. Alrighty. So, let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, so Darlene, you have seen Sandlot, and it is a good movie? Okay. And, Vanilla Pupusi, you don't remember liking Robin Williams? Well, honestly, and I'm, first off, Vanilla Pupusi, I apologize to use this phrase to you, because it pains me. But honestly, he was a little bit before your time. Like, I understand he was alive during your life, but the movies that he did in his later years were definitely not movies that, like, kids would like, you know? So I'm not, well, I mean, I guess that Pan movie might have been, although I feel like that Pan movie was not very well received, so I don't really know. I don't really know about that. But either way, I feel like the arc of his work that you would have maybe appreciated happened well before your time. So, oh yeah, that's right. He was in Hook, wasn't he? I forgot about that. See, I just didn't really, all those Disney Peter Pan movies, it was just no interest to me. But you're right. Hook, I think, is what, because I don't think it was Pan that he was in. I think it was Hook that he was in. And so, I'm writing it down. Hey, Picola T, how you doing? We're sitting here talking about some fun kids movies that we might want to watch on Statterbox at the cinema. And where? Okay, cool. You know what I'm talking about. He went from Mork to like serious dramas. Yeah. And Andre, well, yeah, he was the genie in the cartoon Aladdin, but when I was, I guess, see, and here's where Disney just doesn't even cross my mind. I was thinking live action, the Robin Williams movies, or like, it didn't even occur to me that Vanilla Coke Pepsi wouldn't like Robin Williams as a voice actor. I just assumed he meant as a live action guy, because I forget about Disney movies, because I don't really like Disney. So, you know, and yeah, Kenny from the Cove, there is a whole host of movies in the Muppet universe. I was considering looking into those as well, but I will tell you, my hesitation is as much as lost my train of thought. As much as the Muppet movie was awesome, especially because of all the like random old school stars that were in there, I just don't know. It's like, I don't really know. Will the other movies meet up to its expectations? Is the first one the best one? And I'm afraid that the first one might be the best one, and so I don't know. You know how sometimes sequels, that's the word I'm looking for, aren't as good as the original. I'm very concerned about whether or not the Muppets can hold the standard that the first, and where's coming in, nope, the first is the best. Right, see, and that's kind of what I was concerned about. I didn't want to waste my time on the others if they could not be up to snuff. And so, so let's see here. Yeah, Gina, what dreams might come, Good Will Hunting, Dead Poet Society, totally. Well, he did bring himself to it, but it's still not, I mean, you have to remember, well, maybe you don't actually, but, because I don't know how old you are, but, you know, I mean, he got his start as a comedian. You know, he was Mork from Mork and Mindy, you know, which, by the way, spin-off from Happy Days. I'm not sure if you guys know that. So, you know, I mean, like, he changed his career trajectory pretty majorly, for the better. He obviously was a phenomenal actor, all those movies that you listed were huge hits, but very not silly movies. Now, The Birdcage was a bit of a silly movie. That is true. Not a kid's movie, though, so I'm not so sure that'll fit with the theme that we're exploring at the moment. But Birdcage, that is a funny movie, actually. In fact, I'm going to write it down, not for the kids' theme movies, but one day, when we're feeling sassy, we might do The Birdcage. Yeah. And, yeah, Darlene, exactly. He first came on Happy Days, and then his show came in, precisely. Now, Happy Days, you know, I can't even remember how many shows spun off of Happy Days. I mean, there was Laverne and Shirley, Joni Loves Chachi, Mork and Mindy, and then I think there was even like a post-Happy Days, but I don't remember what it was called. And I feel like there was another one that spun off of Happy Days as well, but definitely could be making that up. And so, Right, Kenny from the Cove, exactly. Before Mork, he was a incredibly popular stand-up comedian and of the era of 8-tracks. Exactly, that's what I'm saying, dude. I mean, I don't know how, you know, his acting accolades are for such serious parts that it is easy to forget how goofy and hairy. Well, no, it's not easy to forget how hairy he is, but how goofy and silly and just funny he was, right? Yeah, exactly, Gina. He started in stand-up, but I'm not really sure that a lot of people would necessarily know that unless they're old enough to know that, which obviously it sounds like you are. Kenny is. I am. I remember. I remember when he was all old and or young and hairy. Hey, Mitchie Mama, how you doing? We were talking about movies, but we've seemed to have focused in on Robin Williams. Yeah, we're trying to figure out some silly movies for Statterbox at the cinema and the like. And so let's see here. Anne, are you kidding me? I mean, I'm sure you're not actually, but Robin Williams studied at Juilliard? Holy, well, no flippin' wonder he can. Wow, I had no idea. Wow, that's incredible. And let's see here, Gina, you're not old enough to remember the first run of Mork and Mindy, but saw it on Nick at Night growing up in the 80s and 90s. There you go, there you go. Wow, that is just crazy. And Kenny from the Cove, everybody loved it when Robin would be on the Johnny Carson show, I'm sure. I mean, shoot, I think, much like me, you know, the host doesn't necessarily have to say anything. It's like, get him started talking and he'll just fill up the whole segment, right? So, yeah, I everybody loved it when Robin Williams showed up on the set. And, yeah, so, okay, cool. All right, so let's see here. Yeah, okay, so yeah, you're just a little bit younger than me, Gina. Whereas, see, I'm of the age where when Mork and Mindy was first running, the rainbow suspenders that Mork wore, they were very popular in my school. And because, like, we were early elementary school, it was sort of socially appropriate for little kids to be wearing rainbow suspenders. So rainbow suspenders were definitely a thing in my in my childhood, as it were. So so there you go. And oh wow, you think Robin Williams was roommates with Christopher Reeves at Juilliard? That is so bizarre. What do you know? What do you know? All right, learning something new every day. And speaking of learning something new every day, as often we do on Wednesdays, we talk a little bit about whales. And I'm not trying to be a spoiler here, but the Whale Talk Wednesday is why I'm wearing this shirt. We'll get to that part later. But first, I want to show you guys a cute little, let's see here. Yeah, a cute little video that, that was taken, I believe, off of, oh shoot, you know what? Hold on. Well, okay. If it's what I think it is, I think I might have a technical menahuni that I think about this, but if I don't have a technical menahuni, we're about to watch a video of a dog named Tippy, and, yeah, let's just see if this works. No, it did not work. Oh, wait, maybe it did. Hold on. Here we go.
Well, humans are going to freak out. I think Tippy's fine with it. It's still right there. It's got color. Amazing.
big.
And Cola T comes in with exactly. All right, so Cola T is like, good thing Tippy is not swimming with the orcas. That's exactly it. So, thank you, Kenny. So in the chat of that particular video, people were saying, "Gosh, it's a really good thing that those weren't orcas." To which I said, and I was really kind of just like joking, "Do we still have the echo? I thought I took care of the echo. Is the echo still here? Sorry, guys. I'm gonna wait until I see if the echo is still here." Echo. Okay, cool. Echo gone away. Fantastic. Okay, so, as we were chatting in the sidebar of this video that I just showed y'all, someone said, it's a good thing that they weren't with orcas. And I said, well, orcas eat marine mammals. I guess the question is, what constitutes a marine mammal? Is it any mammal that happens to be in the marine environment? Or is it marine mammals specific to blah, blah, blah? At which point someone then said, oh, dude, they've done necroscopies, autopsies on animals, autopsies on animals. I can't pronounce the I can't pronounce what they do, what the real term is. Anyway, he was like, they do autopsies and they find deer hooves in orcas. And I was like, deer hooves? Necropsy. Thank you, Gina. At least you knew the word I was trying to say. Anyway, so they apparently have found deer hooves in orcas, right? And so I thought to myself, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and that's horrifying. And so I need to go, look up stuff. So I went on the internet, and I couldn't find any evidence of deers being eaten. Instead, I found evidence of them eating moose. Moose. Orcas eat moose. Moose. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn a little bit about what? They eat moose? Yes, they do. So I stole this off of the internet and I edited it down. And so now you're going to learn about that. So let's learn about that.
The name killer whale is a misnomer. They're actually a type of dolphin, but they do love to kill things. Also called orcas, they're one of the ocean's top apex predators. This means that they themselves have no natural predators. Well, except for motorboats in SeaWorld. Orcas will eat over 140 species of fish, other marine mammals, and even moose. More on that one later. But other populations in the region do actually prey upon all sorts of aquatic animals, like dolphins, small or young whales, seals, and moose. Alright, now I know what you're thinking. Hold on, moose are not aquatic animals. I mean, they look about as buoyant as a bag of bowling balls. And to you, I say, yes, they are as buoyant as a bag of bowling balls. If all the bowling balls are less than 12 pounds and so less dense than water. Moose hair, you see, is hollow. Like, for instance, a hollowed out bowling ball. This insulates moose in the depths of winter against temperatures as low as -60 degrees Celsius. And the hollow hairs also act as hundreds of thousands of tiny little life vests, helping keep moose afloat. But unlike bowling balls, moose are great swimmers. In the water, they can reach the breakneck pace of 5 miles per hour. Alright, that doesn't sound that fast, but compared to us, it is. An average human swimming speed is only about 2 miles per hour. Michael Phelps' record of 1.42 minutes for the 200-meter freestyle makes his average speed during that race only about 4.7 miles per hour. All I'm saying is that if Canada wants to get a place on the stands at the next Olympics, maybe they should just add a moose to their 2024 team. So moose are great in the water, but what are they splashing around for anyway? Surprisingly, like the killer whale, moose is actually a misnomer, and moose are actually a type of dolphin. Okay, not actually, but their nostrils do act almost like blowholes. Valves pinch their nostrils shut when they go underwater. This helps moose hold their breath for up to a minute and dive as deep as 6 meters. Down here, moose forage for aquatic vegetation, especially during the late summer season when pickings become slim back above the surface. Moose will also keep cool underwater during the summer, when it reaches a brutal 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which many moose report is about as hot as a volcano on fire, at least for them. Sometimes they even drop by backyards uninvited for impromptu pool parties. And this is where the orcas strike. Or, well, where they would strike if they could fit in a backyard pool or even get into backyard pools. But who knows? Maybe orcas have an alliance with the It Clown who helps smuggle them around sewers. Where orcas actually attack moose though is off the coast of Canada and Alaska, while moose swim between the various islands to forage. Moose carcasses have been found off the coast of Vancouver with lacerations consistent with orca bites. Don't ask in the comments how scientists figured out what orca bites look like. Let's just say some grad students came out the other end missing some fingers and legs.
Manahunis. All right, so one of the reasons why I did choose that particular video, because there are actually a couple videos about this topic, but the guy was kind of funny, and I liked his little visuals, and so I grabbed his video off the internet and I trimmed it down so it wasn't so, because it was actually like a 10-minute long video, and he was talking all about orcas and things that we already know, because we already talk about orcas here a lot. But one thing we didn't know, or perhaps two things that we didn't know today: bowling balls that are under 12 pounds can float. Okay. And then the other thing we learned was, yeah, orcas eat them. Orcas eat them. And orcas can, like, not orcas, moose can, like, close their nose holes and act like a dolphin, sorta. So, yeah, and the racing moose looked like a little hot dog. I like the little bum, the little moose bum as he was all swimming. And so, so there you go. Now, I want to show you one more video, you guys. And Gina, the Menahune, do they need sacrifices? Clearly, today they are just like ready to pounce. So, so before you guys, or one more video is what I'm trying to say. And so the videos, or so many words, the footage used of moose in the previous video was not footage that was ocean footage, clearly. So, like, what you saw with that moose in the water in that video probably wasn't in a body of water that an orca had access to. However, I have a video that I'm going to show you right here that takes place in the waters of Canada, in the waters of the Salish Sea, where orcas are happening. So let's take a look at this video, and so you get an idea of just where moose are swimming.
What a stand. He got antlers. He's coming.
I want to get closer.
So as you can see, they definitely go swimming voluntarily, oh so voluntarily, in areas where there just might be whales. And exactly, Pokolati pamplemousse turns into poo-poo moose for the orcas. That is exactly it. So, so that wraps things up for Whale Talk Wednesday. And yeah, exactly. And not only are they cliff divers, they're not very graceful cliff divers, but I mean, honestly, I thought at first I saw that video before I saw it to the end, I, seriously thought that moose broke its neck jumping in like that. But you know, hey, it continued to swim afterwards. Rick, swimming? That looked like cliff diving. Yeah, but at the end, you maybe couldn't see it very well because it was so tiny, but at the end, you could see the little moosey ears. Here, okay, I'm gonna show this to you again, so I thought about showing this video to you this way the first time because it's kind of easier to see, but I wanted you to see how steep that cliff was. So let me show you that video again, but in a different perspective.
What a sand.
Okay, that was definitely not what I meant to do. So we're gonna do a couple of them. Gonna try to do it, but it's gonna take a minute because I'm gonna have to, like, you know, do some things and stuff. And here we go. What? That's really annoying me. I was able to transform it. Oh, here we go. There we go. All right, so this is maybe a little bit better of a, maybe you can see it swimming.
What a sand.
Maybe you can see it swimming later. So hold on.
Little one?
Big one. He wants to jump.
He knows if you want it when I break his leg.
He's gonna go.
Do it! Oh no! Is he live?
Yeah.
Woo! I'm rooting for you, buddy!
Look, he's looking.
Lock. What a stand. He got antlers. He's coming.
I don't want to get close to him, so.
All right, so I don't know if that stretched out thing could make the swimming part a little more noticeable. And, you know, Rick, you bring up a good point. I honestly don't know what that was, but it kind of looked like it had definitely some kind of antlers. Now, whether or not they were fuzzy looking early elk antlers or tiny moose antlers, I have no idea. And then again, maybe those were just the ears. I don't know. All I know is that was a big mammal who was doing a big dive into a body of cold water, and I didn't think it was going to survive. There you go. But that's how big animals that you don't think belong in the ocean end up in the ocean and end up being poo-poos for the orcas. That's it. And oh my goodness, you guys, I'm so sorry. I cannot stop scratching my nose. It's like there's a little hair or something, but I can't find it. So, apologies for me just raking at my face all of this stream. So, and yeah, swan dive, belly flop, 2.5. And Kenny, I was thinking it might have been a juvenile male moose as well. I was thinking it might have been a juvenile male moose as well. Yeah, so there we have it. And you think it was a moose, bigger, floppier ears. Okay, there we go. And it did have pretty big floppy ears. You're right. There we go. And let's see here. Andre is saying that elk don't swim in the ocean. You have Thule elk around here, and they live by the sea, but they don't really go into the ocean. Shock, a moose bit your sister once? Why were you so close to a moose that it could bite her? And, okay, tell us about that story. Ouch. Ouch. And Andre, elk don't swim in the ocean. You know what? I'm not so sure that's true. I would be willing to bet that in certain circumstances, elk probably do swim in the salt water. Maybe not the ocean per se, but like you would be surprised at how far animals swim to like in between islands to like search for food, search for a mate, etc. Wolves have been known to do it. Bears have been known to do it. Moose have been known to do it. I don't see any reason why an elk wouldn't have been known to do it at all. I mean, deer sometimes go in the ocean, so I'm sure it's not common. And especially like if there's no islands to swim to, why the hell would they go into the ocean? But I'd be willing to bet that there are some deer populations that, some elk populations that do swim in the ocean just because, the urge to mate, man. The urge to mate. And let's see here, Mitchie Mama. What happened in the video? Did she let the animal get close to them? I don't know. That was the end of the video that I stole off the internet. So I don't know. And let's see here. And Andre, okay, you're right. Okay, so here we go. You're wrong. Elk that live in Alaska do swim in the ocean. Yeah, precisely, because there's a lot of islands right off the coast. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it is amazing how many animals go for a swim like it's no big deal. And Ann Ware's saying Isle Royale and Lake Superior have deer and wolves that have swummed to it. Yeah, exactly. Like wolves. Deer? What are you doing? Those are not animals I think of as swimming animals, right? But oh yeah, no, dude, they swim. They can swim if they need to. And right, 56 miles from land. Exactly. They can swim way further than you would think. I mean, it's craziness, but there you have it. And Andre, if elk swim, do the orca eat the elk too? Well, one can only presume that they would. And I mean, I think really the only reason why we know about, the moose is because they happen to find dead whales with moose parts in them. And so, I mean, if we don't have the dead whale to study, then we don't know what it ate last. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do they? But I'll bet you they do eat the elk, right? And but the orca don't eat the polar bears. Well, I don't know. I mean, the orcas, the northern residents, it sounds like here, and the southern residents obviously don't. They're the fish eaters. I have no idea. Have they studied? I would think that the orcas most likely to eat polar bears would be the ones that are around Norway. And so I don't know have they done any studies on the orcas that are around Norway? Because maybe they do eat the polar bears, or not. I mean, I don't know. I would like to think that, however big the animal or the orca is, like, I'd like to think a polar bear would be too big for them to eat, but they eat moose, so there you go. They eat moose, so maybe their hair is just too thick and it's just their skin is too tough. I don't know. And let's see here. Well, that's assuming that they're on the surface. I mean, the moose, they can dive like over 20 feet. So they're not even in the surface, right? So yeah, who knows? And Ware and Rick are hypothesizing that there is some freezing between Michigan and Isle Royale, which might explain the migration. So you're going for the ice bridge theory, is what I'm hearing. But then Anne's correcting herself. Nope, 18 miles between Isle Royale and Minnesota. Got your numbers wrong. Either way, 18, 56, whatever, dude. I can't swim it. And Darlene, yeah. I believe orcas will eat anything that's in their range, especially if hungry, and if they end up in the water, that's half the battle for the orcas getting a meal. Well, you know, there's some truth to that, and there's also not truth to that, because the marine mammal eating orcas, the ones that eat the moose, I definitely think that that's within the realm of possibility. But as it's turning out, the southern residents in the lower part of the Salish Sea, the Puget Sound area, as we've discussed, they're exclusively not only fish eaters, but they're exclusively salmon eaters. And unfortunately, the orcas are not giving any indication of changing their diet, despite the fact that there is a serious lack of salmon around, to the degree that the whales are noticeably starving, and the scientists have documented the rate of starvation that they are currently that's currently happening in the southern residents. So as much as I'd love to say, oh yeah, they can just switch up, I don't really know if that holds true or not for all the whales. You know, I just don't know. Let's see here. Andre, orcas don't eat humans and we're in the water. Well, I don't know, dude. Given a bad day, one of them Gibraltar orcas just might want to dine on a human one day. For those of you who don't know what that means, the orcas that are in the Strait of Gibraltar area are starting to get really aggressive to boat traffic. And in fact, there was a video that I saw the other night on YouTube where a sailboat captain had part of his rudder literally chewed off by the orcas that were slamming against and attacking his boat. So, so I'd be willing to bet that the Straits of Gibraltar orcas are just like, we gonna be first. We gonna be the first ones to dine on humans. We got ourselves some big forks and knives. We're just ready. We're just ready. And let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, Marmac and Darlene, it is very sad that the orcas are not adopting to the lack of food that they've grown very accustomed to be eating. And you know, the fisheries are. Let's see here. What am I trying to say? The humans of the area are in desperate need to rebuild the fishing, the streams, the watersheds that the salmon spawn in to help increase the population of salmon. But unfortunately, at the rate that they're starving and the rate that we're replenishing the stock of fish, we're not. I am a doomsayer, and I'm not so sure that we're going to be able to catch up and recreate and reintroduce enough fish to bring that population back to a healthy state. But I can say this. I want to be wrong. I better be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I should be wrong. And let's just hope that everything I just said was completely flipping wrong. And, you know, and that's how it is. And so, Kenny from the Cove. In fact, that's why orcas don't eat clowns. They taste funny. You know, yes. And where, yeah, the tragedy of the southern residents began, you know, 50, 60 years ago, back in the 1960s and 70s, when their pods were decimated by those that were captured and taken hostage by places like SeaWorld. So you know, so it's kind of, it's ironic, but because of these pods being the ones that were harvested for entertainment purposes, they are also one of the most studied groups. The southern residents are one of the most studied groups of orcas in the world. Although much of what we know about the southern orcas doesn't actually apply to the rest of the orcas of the world, because they are so honed to their geography. But yeah, it started off with the culling of the matriarchal lines in the pods, you know, a while back. and then it has continued with, you know, the decline of food, et cetera, et cetera. And, you know, we've been scientifically watching this for the last 50 years. Yeah. Yeah. And Kenny from the Cove, this raises the question, what can we do to ensure a plentiful fish supply for the orcas? Well, things that have already been done. Dam removal is, this is so controversial from agricultural and from an electrical power producing perspective, but removing the dams is the first key. Dam removal is the #1 problem with fish being able to get back to their original spawning grounds. Another problem is the smaller creeks that are used for spawning are oftentimes overgrown with weeds and invasive species, and they don't the tributary rivers and streams aren't in good enough condition to support the spawning salmon, or excuse me, not the spawning salmon, but the smelt. No, it's not smelt. What are they called? The little ones. I don't remember what they're called, but the little baby salmons that hang out for about a year in the fresh water before they head out to the ocean. So it's a bunch of different stuff, and we've got a lot of agencies. Tribal agencies are like heading the move on this. But fingerlings, let's call them fingerlings. So the tribes are working on solutions for the dam problem, reinvigorating the tributaries, etc. Another thing, and this is the strangest thing in the world, I do not understand how or why. I don't get it. But if you go, I'm just going to give an example in Seattle, and I'm sure that this situation can be probably is applied everywhere. But so we've got this former industrial waterway called the Duwamish Waterway, and it used to be used for all sorts of industry, cement, creation, shipbuilding, railroad tie, blah blah blah. I mean, just a bunch of stuff, and a lot of it was dirty industry. So they've got these riverbanks. It's basically a canal, even though it was a naturally flowing river at one point. They have built up the riverbanks that it's essentially a canal. So in the areas where it is still canal-like, you will not be able to see or find a fish anywhere. However, all of the sections, which are piecemeal right now, but all of the sections of the waterway that have been restored to natural banks with native plants, so it's like maybe a 50-foot length of the river that has this naturalized effect, in that area, you will literally see fish jumping out of the water. The fish are so plentiful. So re-establishing the natural native habitats to the watersheds is just as important as removing the dams and then trying to increase the stock every year. And increasing the stock, by the way, this is done via state and indigenous tribes, First Nations folks. This is done with the native salmon. This is not a case of farming, because farming of Atlantic salmon in Pacific waters absolutely is detrimental to the reintroduction of the supply of fish that we need for the orcas. And so when the Kola T mentioned that farming is not a good option, 100% agree with you, Kola T. Atlantic fish have no business in Pacific waters, period, end of story. And so yeah, okay, so Rick, you're saying more plants, more insects, more fish makes sense. Yeah, it was very strange. I was on this kayaking tour, and well, actually it wasn't even a tour, I was kayaking through the waterway. And yeah, all the sections of the river that had been reestablished as and naturalized literally had fish jumping out of them. The water it was idyllic. It was wonderful. It was just wonderful. And hey, Phantom of Potato, how you doing? We are sitting here talking about We're talking about how orcas can eat moose, and then we're also talking about how orcas eat fish and what we can do to make more fish for the orcas. And let's see here. Yeah, and you know, Rick, I've been told also that not only is it the, you know, more plants, more insects, blah, blah, blah. I've also been told that the water actually is cooler to the fish than the canaled bits. So who knows? And let's see here. Are there salmon-eating orcas in Norway or in the Atlantic? I don't know, Andre. Honestly, like I said, the southern residents in the Salish Sea, i.e. the Puget Sound, or part of the Puget Sound, that is, or Puget Sound is part of the Salish Sea, that is, they're the most studied in the world. They eat the salmons, etc. But, you know, there's a bunch of different kinds of orcas, and honestly, I have no idea what type of research has been done in regards to the diets of the orcas in the Norway area or in Atlantic Ocean. I'm definitely not up on that branch of the orca family tree, as it were. So, So, once again, apologizing for scratching my face today. My nose cannot stop itching. I don't know why. And I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out earlier today when things were being things. You know how things are. But it looks like the El Gato is not broken. It's purring along just fine. And yeah, so let's see here. Rick, they've started removing dams in the Milwaukee area to let salmon and steelhead get further upstream. Exactly, and that makes me so flippin' happy, dude. The dams, not only do the dams make it difficult for the salmon and the steelhead to get back upstream, the dams actually also hold back a lot of silt and sand, and it eventually robs the downriver portion of land building materials for all the nooks and crannies in the backwaters that the smolt, is it smolt? I think the smolt is what I'm talking about, that the baby salmons need. Sorry, you guys, that didn't mean to just shout that out, but I think the term for baby salmon is smolt. I think, actually, not smelt, smolt. But either way, small fries, little baby fishes, smoltsies, whatever, not smelt, that's a type of fish, smolt with an O. I think that's what a baby salmon is called. But as you know, about anything that comes out of my mouth, maybe look it up before you start quoting me, but I think it's smolt. I really think it might be. Yeah, so, and smolt is correct. Yes, all right. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. We're not gonna take a tally of how many times I'm right, but sometimes I'm right, like once or twice, or once. No, not a smole. It's a small fish, but it's a smolt with a T at the end. And shock, just so you know. And Andre, you love how they airdrop fish into remote lakes, parafish. I've never seen that, but what they are starting to do now is they've basically created like a little water slide. Not a really water slide, I guess, like it's a water slide for a fish, so it's a tunnel, I suppose, but you know, it's a tube, I guess is actually the word I'm looking for. And they jet the fish, it's a water cannon, basically, is what it is, and they shoot the fish over the dam. And it's kind of fun to watch. I don't have any video of that, but it's kind of fun to watch. And even though I'm sure the fish are just like, what just happened here? It also kind of looks like it would be a little fun ride, right? And there you go. Kenny, you're so silly. I'm resisting the urge to make a smelt the small remark. Cute. All right, so Anware has Googled the Googles, and smolt is the right word. And yeah, so it's about 2 minutes till the bottom of the hour. So I think we're gonna wrap things up today. And like I said earlier, and continuing to say, thank you guys for hanging out. I can't thank you enough, and I'm so thankful for the little kitten video that I had for you, because let me flippin' tell ya, whew, I was stir-ehust. And exactly, the fish are like, the aliens just beamed me up. Precisely, exactly. And Rick, well, Rick is throwing down some seriousness. There are 7 stages to the Pacific salmon life cycle. Go look them up. I will, actually. I will. Because now I'm like 7, really? I mean, I suppose if I think about it, and we're not going to go through it right now, but I suppose if I think about it, I might know that, but I didn't know there was so many cycles. I mean, stages in the cycle. Whatever. Andre, thank you so much for those biddies. And Cindy Krause, I almost was ready to just call it quits. I was almost ready to call it quits. I'm so glad that, that we all stuck it through, because I really, like, you guys, I wore a special shirt just for the occasion. I really, really wanted to, like, tell you all about the moose, right? And so, yeah, all right. Gina, thanks for hanging in there yourself, my friend. Super stoked that we could hang out today, even though it was a little bit of a rough start there. But, you know, we landed softly on some kittens. There we have it. Okay, so we will see each other hopefully on Saturday, 6 p.m. West Coast time, 3 p.m. Hawaii time, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. What movie will we be watching? I don't know, man. What movie will we be watching? Wait, what did I just say? I don't know what movie we're going to be watching. That much I can say for sure. Goonies is definitely on the list, but we'll have to double check what crosses the path before the final play button is played. So, let's see here. Rick, fry stage. This stage begins once the salmon leaves the gravel beds, right? Okay, so moose tartare for the orca is amazing. And Michi Mama, good. I'm so glad you guys. And Pokolati, I'm so glad that this little strange bit of trivia was a good bit of education today. And so let's see here. Okay, smolt stage. Once the par marks start wearing away and the salmon starts moving towards saltwater. All right, there we go. There we go. And I don't know what movie you're talking about, Chuck, so I can't say that I want to see that. And yeah, and then there's the spawner stage, right? Spawn till you die. Yep, that's when you're coming back. That's when you're coming back to the homestead. And then there's post-spawn. Yes, and post-spawn, for those of you who don't know, who aren't fisher people, you generally don't want your fish in post. You don't want to. If you catch a fish in the post-spawn stage, you probably don't want to use it because it's all beaten up and the flesh is all messed up. So, and then they're about ready to die anyway. So you really don't want them. They're on death's door. But just so you know, little fishing trivia there. You don't really want them. You don't want them in that post-spawn stage. So, all right. Oh, it's a romance drama, not your kind of flick. Well, then I don't want to watch it. All right, now that we've decided what we don't want to watch, we are going to wrap it up for real this time. All right. So, what stage is best? Well, basically, Gina, you're gonna be the spawner stage is the stage that you're gonna catch them, because when you go salmon fishing, it's generally when they're coming back to the homestead to spawn. So you want to catch them. Basically, you want to catch them as close to the mouth of the river as you can, because the further they go upstream, the more beat up they are. Is how that works out. I mean, it really is. Just sort of how that works. You know, because I mean, some of the parts of the river are kind of shallow, and you're beating up, you're jumping against rocks. They're getting a little battered and bruised. So the closer to the mouth of the river, the better is what you want to do, basically. So alrighty, cool. Now that I've answered that little question, because not that I'm a fisherman, but I know plenty who are. So, all right then, we're really going to wrap it up this time, 33 minutes after the hour. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you on Saturday. And yeah, Pocola T, we can sure talk about salmon again. That's no problem at all. That's whale adjacent. Of course we can talk about salmons. All right then, on that note, see you laters.